Okay, guys, I'm going to get started here. Thank you so much for attending. As you know, either by now or as you're about to find out, I'm trying to do RezStream Cloud usability webinars specifically geared to existing customers, so you guys using the product. This is non-promotional, no salesy stuff in here. I think in general as a company we're pretty good about providing education and not pushing sales, so I think that's a benefit of RezStream as a vendor. But nonetheless, this is all about you guys. So if I don't get emails or surveys filled out as the weeks go by on ideas or topics for the webinar, then what I do is I not only talk to the support team who's interacting with a couple hundred cloud PMS users on a daily basis to understand challenges, needs, common questions, but I'm also looking at our user voice community to see some of the pain points out there that are getting brought up, and I try and come up with topics that based on that data seems relevant to the masses. So if you guys haven't got any value out of these usability webinars, by all means shoot me an email, give me a call, fill out a survey, somehow get in touch with me and give me some ideas of things that you'd like to learn about. So today what I'm going to be covering is reporting. So as we all know, reporting is a crucial component for any business, and in the lodging industry specifically, trying to understand who's coming and going, what payments we have, taxes, sales, revenue, those are crucial pieces of information. So ensuring that we have those appropriate data points and they're easily accessible for you as property owners is very important to us. I think in general, just speaking candidly, and this is my own personal opinion, no reflection of anyone else, I wouldn't call reporting in the cloud a weakness of RezStream. However, I also would not call it a strength. And now obviously I have something to compare it to with RezStream Professional. So when you have a 15-year mature product with 50, 60 plus reports, and then you have a cloud product that's a couple years mature here, we've got some catching up to do, as well as something else that we're working on now, for whatever it's worth, is we've sat on no less than 4 demonstrations by third-party companies that provide reporting platforms. So we're going to be making a strong push here over the next 6 months to integrate with a third-party reporting platform that will not only be able to bring you guys missing reports, but we're able to bring you guys visual graphical interfaces amongst the reports, pie charts, bar graphs, etc., as well as we're trying to find a vendor that allows for a custom reporting, meaning that you can build your own reports. In the various different vendors that we've sat in thus far, the challenge with custom reporting is there are many options, and it can be complex to a certain degree. And I know for me as a user, I'm not overly tech savvy, so I like things to be very easy. So one of the ideas we have here is if we choose a vendor that allows custom reporting we have the support team build out the specific custom reports that y'all are looking for, but nonetheless have the flexibility to do so. So I think that's appealing, I think that's exciting, and hopefully that helps meet your guys' needs. So, okay, without further ado here, I'm going to jump in. So as you guys all know by now, on the left-hand side is our navigation within RezStream Cloud, whether you expand it out and see the full words or you shorten it up and see, the icons only. If we roll down here, we'll hover over reports and be able to click on that and get into that section. Okay. Now, within the reporting section, you can search for various different reports at the top if you can't find a specific one. As you are likely familiar with at this point, we've kind of categorized these reports and we've broken them up by reservations, housekeeping, ledgers, financials, deposits, payments, revenue, sales, and taxes. So hopefully that display is organized in a fashion in which it's easy for you to navigate. Something that was important to us to add for those of you that come from RezStream Professional is a description of the reports on the right-hand side. So if you're not sure what a report does, obviously you can read the description or jump in and look away. The choice is yours. But nonetheless, we tried to make it very user-friendly in terms of explaining to you within a short sentence what is on that particular report. So let's start up top here with these reservations reports here. I'm not going to go through every single report because we'll be here for 2 hours, so I'm going to try and respect your time and get done here by 11:30 Mountain, 1:30 Eastern if I can. So I'm going to go and pick out maybe some of the more used reports by the user base and talk about some things here. So let's jump in and let's look at an arrivals report. So these are reservations arriving on any given day. So within this arrivals report, guys, the first thing that comes to mind here is we have our time frames, right? So we have selectable time frames or date ranges. Typically, you're going to be doing this for current and future, right? Being that this is my demonstration database, I may be showing some past data in some of these reports. Now, other things to pay attention to on any report section is what are the different columns and rows within this report. So we have units. Over here, we have arrival and departure dates. We have the actual guests. We have guest status, and we have notes, okay? In the upper right-hand corner of various different reports, you're going to have some options. You may have some settings options, which will allow you to turn things on or off within reports, as well as you may have the option to export out to a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet that particular data, okay? So if you're in a report and maybe you don't see some things that you'd like to have, or you want to remove some things, or export that report in general, make sure you look in the upper right-hand corner of all the reports, as various ones will offer those options. Now, in general, let me say that for those of you that come from RezStream Professional and you used to export your reports via an IIF file out to QuickBooks, unfortunately, the cloud does not directly connect to QuickBooks from an export standpoint. However, when you export your reports out to a CSV file, an Excel file, we have validated that QuickBooks will accept an import from that particular file format. So although it is not direct yet, you can still export and import that data over into your QuickBooks. So if you weren't aware of that, now you are. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier. Okay. So in general here, if I look at some information here on this arrivals report, I select my dates, and maybe I want to go out a couple weeks here and see who's going to be arriving. I could do this for various different reasons. I need to make sure that these units are clean. Maybe they haven't been stayed in for a while. I need to get them double checked. Maybe I've got some registration cards that I need to print out, things of that nature. So that's what I'm going to be using this arrivals report. Now, this report may look a little bit different, and I set it up that way on purpose so that I can show you some flexibility. So if I come up here to my settings, guys, by default, all of these options are turned on. I personally have turned them off because I want to show you a couple things here. So I'm going to turn on packages, special requests, and person notes here, and I'm going to save this. And then you're going to notice out here if there's any of those things for these reservations. Let me refresh. There may not be. Okay, there's not. So let me turn on important custom fields and important tags. So let me turn those things on and save. So I've basically toggled those things on here, and what you're seeing now is you're seeing some of those things that are specific to these reservations for this particular stay. You're going to see them show up, okay? So for whatever reason, my demo property is tracking the make and model, the car of the guests. It's tracking dietary restrictions because I serve snacks, I serve food, as well as I need to know who's bringing dogs, and I like to know what the name of the dog is so I can write a little note, give a little treat. And then you'll also see some tags here, okay? So these are things that when you're setting up either custom fields or you're setting up tags, you can determine to flag these as important. So let me show you where that gets done and how that information gets displayed on various different reports within the system, okay? So I'm going to come into my configuration section, and I'm going to start with, let me see, I'm going to start with people tags. So I'm just going to jump into, actually I'll create a new one. So I'm going to add a new tag, and by adding a tag, guys, I get to pick the name of the tag, I get to pick the color, and then I determine if I'm going to flag it as important or not. So by flagging it as important, that's what's dictating if it's going to show up on the various different reports. So you're going to have the option not only within your people tags, but you're going to have that option within your reservation tags to flag those things as important or not, and that's what's going to show up on the back end, okay? Now the same thing is to be said with our custom fields. So if we're creating a custom field here, when we create a custom field, we got a couple different options, and I don't want to get lost here, but I think this is important to cover. When you create a custom field, you can either determine if you want that field to be at the person level, which is on your contacts, your people screens, or you can determine if you want that field to be at the reservation level because it applies to reservations specifically. So and when I go back into that arrivals report, tracking the cars, the special needs, arrivals, departure times, things of that nature, that's where I would tag it as reservation. And then if I flag it as important here, those things are going to be showing up on those reports, okay? So if you see anything that you like today that you don't currently have, you know, this is how you do it, and or reach out to our teams here so that way they can share with you how to accomplish those tags. So I'm just going to pick it way out in the future here, see if I can get more reservations and more data. So I'm going to generate that report here. And then as we see here, we've got our units, arrivals, departures, the guests, the status, and all those notes things that I turned on up here in my settings. So now I'm seeing package information. I'm seeing personal notes. I'm seeing loyalty information. I'm seeing cars, dietary restrictions, bar comps, and I'm seeing various different tags, okay? So what I think is appealing that I've heard from customers and that customers has asked for is you have the ability to make these types of reports as basic as you want or as flexible as you want, and you do that up here within the settings. The other thing that I'll go ahead and turn on now is balances. So some feedback is that people said to us early on, hey, I don't want to have to go to a different report on my arrivals report or my housekeeping report. I just want to see all of this data. So you'll notice within this report, within the settings, you can toggle these things on or off. So make it as basic as you want or as detail-oriented as you want, but nonetheless, you have that flexibility, okay? So there's a report within the reservation section. So you've got active, which shows all reservations. You've got arrivals, which we just looked at is people arriving. We've got departure reports, people departing or stayover reports. So if you want to see everything, run the active. If you want to see specific things, then go ahead and run those various specific reports, okay? Again, guys, as we're going through this here today, if you have any reports that are missing currently that you'd like to see, go ahead and type it in that questions field. You don't have to pose it as a question. This is not Jeopardy. I'm just looking for information or data reports that you are missing. Also, if there's specific data points like length of stay, pacing things of that nature, comparable data, go ahead and type that in. I want to know what's missing, okay? All right, moving on to housekeeping reports. So we've got two different options between housekeeping reports, a reservation status and a guest forecast. So let's go in and look at both of these. So if I look at housekeeping by reservation status, you're going to see some information on here. So we've got our units, okay, on the left-hand side, and it's broken down by arrivals and the total number of arrivals. It's broken down by departures, total number of departures, the stayovers, and the total, as well as any units out of service. Then at the bottom here, we got this feedback early on with our alpha and beta testing. We're totaling up for you the number of people within the parties, and the purpose for this is a couple different things. So I've got some customers that have security on staff and they need a general head count of who's moving around the property for security purposes. For other reasons, for those of you that are doing breakfast or snacks, turn down snacks, wine service, or those of you that have a dinner or anything like that, nonetheless here you've got some total counts on any particular day. So you can run the report for a particular day and you will get total arrivals, departures, stayover counts, and it's broken down by your different guest categories that you have set up within the system. So in my particular property, my demonstration property, I've got it categorized as adults and then kids under the age of 13. So on this particular day, today, I've got 6 adults arriving and 1 kid under 13 arriving. As far as my departures, 6 are leaving, 2 kids under 13 are leaving. I've got 4 adults staying over. And then for those of you cooking breakfast, if you were to come in and you're a chef or you're an innkeeper and you're doing everything, including making breakfast, you run this report first thing in the morning and you got an idea of how much bacon, sausage, eggs, toast, etc. that you need based on that morning count, and vice versa for those of you that are doing dinner or turn down service, wine, cheese, snacks, anything like that. You have an idea of the head count and or the particular items that might need to be put out there based on your different guest categories, okay? Other things on this report is the status clean dirty, and for those of you that have been using the program, you can mark those things. They either happen automatically on checkout as well as you can mark them manually. Your housekeeping staff can mark them as units get clean right on the occupancy map so you know when you can start checking guests in. As well as we have a changed linen feature and guest count. If I come up here in the upper right-hand corner to my settings, I also have some similar options that you saw on previous screens. By default, all of these are turned on, but I just want to kind of go through these. So I'm going to turn on reservation names and confirmation numbers and save it. It's going to update that report here. And now I've got my guest names and I've got their actual confirmation numbers. So for those of you that have that personal touch, I'm thinking of bed and breakfast or inns or boutique type properties, and maybe your housekeeping staff needs to greet these people, introduce yourselves and say hi to them by name. That would be an option here. Also, if I come back here, I show reservation status and dates and length of stay. That information is going to come here, so I know exactly how many nights they're staying, as well as are they arriving, departing, are they checked in or not. I can add those options here. I can toggle those things on or off. And then lastly here, I can show notes and I can be specific to what I want to see and what I do not want to see on those reports. Some of you don't like to share specific information with your housekeeping staff, whereas others do want that personal touch. It's your choice, guys. We just want to make sure that it's flexible enough that you can control that. So similar to that arrivals report, when I turn on those specific notes, I'm now seeing any special requests, right? So this person needs feather pillows. They want feather pillows. Maybe they need a pack and play. Maybe it's a birthday and I need to put a birthday card in there that I've already handwritten out or that I have on file. I've got dogs and specific things. My housekeeping staff needs to know not to walk into a unit where a dog Fido may be aggressive, what have you. So nonetheless, again, this particular report has the settings that can be turned on or off at your discretion. So hopefully you've seen some things that you like here or learned some stuff. Okay, moving on, also within the housekeeping category, if you will, is a guest forecast report, which is a multi-day report to help the staff plan. So the housekeeping report we saw is for a single particular day, right? So we come in, typically we run it first thing in the morning and we know what needs to get done and what needs to go where, and we can put out our assignments. With the guest forecast, this is a report that we can run for multiple different days, right? And when we do so, it's going to break it down by specific date, okay? So the reason that this report, not the specific reason, but one of the reasons that this report exists is for those of you that need to plan staff, maybe you don't have a full-time housekeeper and you prefer not to do it yourself along with all the other hats that you wear. This type of report can help you plan for the future. So I see on the 4th and the 5th, I've got some arrivals and some departures. On the 6th, I got some departures. I've got some stayovers here on the 7th, 8th, and 9th. But then it looks pretty sparse after that. So do I really need to plan for housekeeping staff to come in? What am I going to pay them for if I do not need them? The idea here, guys, is to give you an idea of who's coming and going for a multiple day period. So this is feedback that we also got early on, that you guys needed more visibility other than just today or one specific date. And you'll see your broken down by date, arrivals, departures, as well as the specific head count within those, as well as the totals, right? Total arrivals for this time frame or that specific date. Same with departures, stayovers. Also lets us know any units out of service, how many units are being occupied on any particular day. So if I know that a housekeeper can get 3 units done, then I need to get 2 housekeepers on this particular day. And we've got a morning and evening count and a total count here. So again, housekeeping report is 1 day, any day of your choice. Guest forecast is a multiple day look for planning purposes. So hopefully you've learned something or seen something that you like and you use those reports. Okay, moving on here. Let's jump down to the ledger reports here. And what I've learned is reporting in general is very complex. We have specific reporting servers and databases to deliver this information. So as we add reports or we work with a third party to give an addition to our reporting platform, reports are very complex because it touches past data, it touches current data, it touches future data, it touches sales, it touches revenue, and those things can change over time. People cancel, people make additions, subtractions. It touches the booking engine, the OTA channels, et cetera, et cetera. So you understand the complexity of the reports and the value and benefit to your business. The general ledger reports take various different elements of everything I just described. So these are big boy reports. So if they take a little bit of time to load, it's because they're going through checks and balances to ensure the accuracy of those data points for you. So within these ledger reports, guys, you have all account balances. You have a guest ledger report, which are account balances for all in-house reservations that are currently taking place. And then you have a city ledger report, which is account balances for everything that is not in-house. So if we jump into this general ledger report, which is all account balances here, we'll take a look at the data points that exist. So bear with this on a couple levels. We're in a testing environment here, as well as these are massive reports that are going on here. So first thing that stands out here is we can show this particular general ledger report for a specific date with data that is entered on or before X specific date, okay? So as of today, what this report allows you to do is it allows you to get into a time machine and go back in time, okay? And the value I think there is for those of you that don't do reporting daily and or those of you that outsource to an accounting person or firm. It allows them to get in the time machine and go back and look and close out a month or a quarter or a year. It's referred to as temporal reporting. So you have that option here within some of these ledger reports. As it relates to the actual report itself, it's broken up by specific guest, right? And then it's showing you the gross revenue, payments made, accounts payable, receivable, and advanced deposits. If I want to expand out everything, I click this very, very top plus button and it will expand everything. If I only want to expand something for a specific account so that I could then drill down for whatever purpose I needed to, I certainly could do so by clicking on the plus sign of that specific individual. So hopefully this report is valuable for those of you that are looking for revenue payments, payables, receivables, and advanced deposits. You'll notice I have this settings button up here in the upper right hand corner, and by clicking on that, It allows me to choose a cutoff date, as well as it allows me to include advanced deposits on that city ledger report. So you've got a couple of different options there. So let's get out of this general ledger and let's go over and let's jump into the guest ledger report, which is account balances for everything in-house, all in-house reservations. And we see similar fields here of data points, but it's for different reasons. So these are in-house reservations instead of everything, whereas if I were to jump into the city ledger report, this is for everything not in-house. And we're going to see some similar data fields for that as well as we open up this report. Now, in general, guys, if you get confused by the reports, you don't understand the data on the reports, or you're questioning any of the data for whatever reason it is because you're comparing it to some past reports, the reporting structure, especially for those of you coming from RezStream Professional, is a little bit different than what it is here in RezStream Cloud. And the purpose for that is RezStream Professional made a lot of assumptions. So I wouldn't necessarily call the data to be definitive and absolute. However, we've made the necessary adjustments in the cloud to make sure that we're giving you accurate data here. So for those of you that have converted over and see some discrepancies, please reach out to the support team and they can help explain those various differences if you run into them. But nonetheless, on the city ledger report here for everything out of house reservations, you're going to see similar data, and it also allows you to drill down. So those are the ledger reports as well as the settings within the ledger reports. Moving down here, we've got an advanced deposits report here for your financials. So if we open up the advanced deposits report, this is going to show us all of those advanced deposits, right? So those are all current advanced deposits. We'll walk through the data points here. Okay, so again, it's breaking it down by the specific account holder or guest. You'll notice that this advanced deposits report is for the current date. So all advanced deposits as of April 4th, 2017. So you do not have the ability to get in a time machine and go back or forward. This is as of today for all of your advanced deposits on the book. So you'll see charges, you'll see payments, and you'll see all of those advanced deposits. So if you're reconciling against your bank account, let's say your specific property takes all advanced deposits, and most of you are taking deposits because it's skin in the game and it's cash flow for your small properties. For those of you that are reconciling and you put this in a separate bank account to make sure that you are not spending it, because as we know in an accrual type accounting system, although we may collect money today for a reservation in the future, we have not yet earned that money, right? It is not yet revenue because we have not delivered what it is that we've sold. So especially in lodging, if I take a reservation today for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, although I've taken maybe a 50% deposit, technically I've not earned that money, so I shouldn't be spending that money. But then as the Saturday reservation takes place and they stay overnight, I can then recognize the revenue for night one. And then as the Sunday reservation takes place and I've delivered that, now that money goes from my advanced deposits bucket to my revenue bucket. That money is mine and I can do with it as I please. Now everyone has different viewpoints or stances on that. I'm not telling you how to run your business, but nonetheless, this advanced deposits shows you as of the current date, those advanced deposits that you have out there on the books, okay? All right, moving on to pending deposits. We've got a couple different options here. We have all pending deposits, which is going to show us all deposits owed for reservations beyond the given date. We have all of our current deposits, which are those deposits in good standing with deposits owed with the future due date. And then we have all of our past due deposits. So these are the deposits that are past due, right? So I think those reports are pretty self-explanatory here, but I'll just jump in quickly and kind of show you the different data sets. So if we look at all of our pending deposits, we're going to see both current good standing deposits as well as past due pending deposits. And this is going to give us one big list. So as this report is loading here, it's because it's querying the reporting Raven database and it's pulling all of this data in a format in which we understand it. So we've got for April 4th, here's all our confirmations, here's all of our guests, here's when they arrived. Here are those different types of deposits that were taken. Here are the due dates, amount due, what has been paid, the difference, and the specifics of when those things were due. So as I scroll down here, you'll see in my demo property, I'm not very good about collecting things that I should get, but you're going to get a mixture of those past due deposits, as well as you're going to get an idea of the future and what is to come here. Okay, so that's an example of the pending deposits for everything. If I only want to see my current good standing deposits for April 4th, I see similar data points as well as what is due and when those things are due. So I'm good with these. And you saw all the ones that I wasn't good with. So for those of you that need to go make some collections, or those of you that want to stay on top of it, knock on wood, yours never looks like mine because you're collecting what it is that you should be based on how you operate your business. But nonetheless, these deposits are giving you a nice view of that data, your money, or should be money, or what to expect, right? Okay. Now we'll move on to the payment section here. And I'll try and speed up a little bit here because there's some other reports I want to cover and I'm getting a little long-winded. So within your payments, the options that you have are by type. So all of your payments by type. So I think this is a valuable report. So let me just see if I can get some further back data and future data, see if I can get some more data points to show you a better picture here. Again, on this report, you've got the ability to change your dates as well as go in your time machine to a particular date. I forgot the reason why this may not look like yours, guys, is I don't have credit cards and credit card processing set up, so all of my payments are fake. But nonetheless, on this particular report, you would see the various different payments and by type, credit cards, cash, checks, the various specific credit cards, Visa, American Express, MasterCard. You'd see all those data points and what you collected with each so that you could reconcile and batch at the end of the day, the week, the month when you're doing those things. Also look at it from a cash flow perspective. And then you can obviously drill down to any of those specific details, reservations, payment statuses as necessary. Let's see here, you can also jump in and you can see authorizations. So those of you doing authorizations in advance, which is basically putting the hold or taking an authorization similar to what the big chain hotels are doing, you would see that data there. You can actually see all of your transactions, so you can see what is settling, and it's going to break it down by type, times, credit cards, numbers, which will be last 4 digits for security purposes, name on cards, and the invoices and reservations that it's associated with. So again, I can't really show you that on my database because I don't have credit card processing turned on for obvious reasons. But nonetheless, a good idea to see money that's being collected, make sure that it's reconciling, make sure that you're batching out at the end of the day and getting the money in which you're running payments for. The other thing that kind of goes in this payments section here, guys, is gift certificate redemptions. So for those of you coming over from RezPro, we used to throw gift certificates on payments reports, and now we're breaking it up a little bit different. So let me see if I can't get you some data from the past here. Actually, I'm just going to go way back. So you'll be able to see the various different gift certificates that have been redeemed. So not only you're going to get gift certificate number, but invoice number as well as specific guest and the amount. And then again, you can drill down to get those specific information points. You're also going to get to see who it was for, right? So you're going to see that on these reports. So for those of you that use gift certificates, which I encourage everyone to do regardless of your property type, size, or past experience, if marketed properly and you make it a consistent effort amongst yourself and the staff, they do have value. 30% allegedly of gift certificates, according to reports, never even get redeemed. So that can have its benefits for your business as pure profit and goes to your bottom line as well. But nonetheless, you have a report to be able to see it. Okay, let's jump down into a couple different things here, and I'm going to skip revenue for now. I'll come back, but let's talk about sales. So what are sales? Sales are things that I've sold. Sales are things that I expect to happen, but could change, right? So maybe I sold a reservation today for this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, but they could end up canceling or moving, extending, shortening, what have you. That's sales. So you have various different reports here in the sales section. So we can look at total sales, which is going to summarize our unit or room sales, point of sales, package cancellation fees. We can see what's selling by a specific rate plan. So if we offer best available rate, if we combine any type of packages with rates, if we do AAA discounts, military discounts, corporate discounts, we can see which of our specific rates are selling better than others, so we know what is and is not working. Same thing with looking at sales by unit. We can see which of our units or unit types are selling better than others. Maybe that helps us get insight into adjusting various different rates. Then we see point of sale items by category. So what's an example? Let's say I have snacks. That's a category, and within my snacks I have individual point of sale items, Snickers bars, cookies, Red Bulls, whatever it is that I'm selling, as well as you can see it broken down by individual item. We also have sales reports by revenue count, packages, source, channels, and gift certificates, right? So let me just jump in here to a total sales report, and you'll see I can change this report for specific time frames. So if I want to go back into the past and compare a time frame, maybe against the future, I can do so. It's broken down by items, cancellation fee, point of sale items, and units, and I can expand those things out to see the various different units or unit types. And then I'm seeing my sales, any associated fees, taxes, and the total of those. Now, I want you to pay attention here. You have the ability to print these out as well as export this data. So this will go to the export CSV if we need to get that into QuickBooks, or for whatever various reason we want to share that report with other people, we have the options to do so. Let me talk to you about these two reports down here because we started with this one and then we added this one, and I don't want anyone to be confused, okay? So sales by channel, okay? These are reservation sales, okay? So let's jump into this sales by channel report. So this is to help you understand marketing efforts or where your reservations or your sales per se are coming from, okay? So you see here that I've got booking engine, I've got mobile booking engine, I've got the reservation software itself. So how you should be thinking about this is everything offline, phone calls, walk-ins, reservations you're taking and entering yourself. These two here are online, whether they're coming through my mobile booking engine or my regular desktop booking engine directly from my website. That's not on a mobile device. And you see the sales, the fees, the taxes, and the totals, okay? Now, what I want you to know, and the point I want to make here about this particular report is that the assumption is that any reservation that comes in from any of these channels and then has any edits to them will show up within this report. So specific examples are, you've taken a reservation and they're coming in and maybe they've added a package, they've added a point of sale item, they've bought a Red Bull, a cookie, a brownie, whatever. We're going to total up all of those sales and assume that the reason why you got those additional purchases or edits is because it came from that specific channel. So this sales by channel report will show you all of those sales within a particular channel and any edits to those reservations, okay? So if they book online, they made a booking online, and then they come and stay at the property, or prior to their stay, they make adjustment to it and they add a Red Bull or what have you, we're going to total it up because we're saying if you didn't get that online booking, they would have never added that Red Bull as a purchase, and so that should be accounted for here. So this is a way for you to look at not only your sales, but any changes to your sales, upsells, packages, point of sale items, what have you, okay? So pay attention as it relates to your sales by channel report, okay? Now, we then had people come back and say to us, well, I don't want you to assume that they got those add-ons or upsells as a result of that channel, okay? So I want to see all of my sales by channel excluding any changes, okay? So this particular report does not include any of those changes. So this, as an example, is a report that you should be using specifically for your marketing efforts or your marketing agency, what have you, because this is going to show all reservation sales at the time of the booking by channel, but it's going to exclude any changes, which also not only is upsells, add-ons, packages, but it's also going to exclude any cancellations, which means that on this report, if you have a cancellation fee and that reservation doesn't actually happen, but you charge them a fee for canceling, we're going to assume that that is a sale, because without that reservation being canceled, you would not have got that cancellation fee, so we have to account for that money somewhere, right? So this particular report, which has the same data points and it's kind of spinning here, is basically all of your sales excluding any of those changes. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys, right? Okay. Now, there are some data points within here that show up as unknown, and that's tied from conversions. I forget the specific reason, but I see a question here, so I'm going to reply to you offline, Marcy, as it relates to why it shows up as known. I apologize, I've forgotten off the top of my head. But nonetheless, there's a reason for that, so I'll explain it to you. Now, let's go look at revenue reports. So you're going to see similar things in your revenue reports, guys. Whether it's total revenue, revenue by rate plan, by unit, category, point of sale items, revenue accounts, packages, sources and channels, what have you, right? So let's see if we can jump into this revenue report here. You're going to see similar categories here. So as it relates to revenue, this is what we've earned as well as what it is that we're expecting for the future. So you can actually go out into the future and see what it is that you're expecting, right? So as you're picking your date ranges and getting into your time machine and going to as of a particular date, what does that data look like? So this is a way for you to compare past data, and this is a way for you to compare how it's looking for future data. So if I want to compare next week as it relates to today, and I want to compare that same data point for last year to see how I'm trending or pacing, you have to do it, so you just have to run the report twice for that data point. That's something that we'll address with our third-party reporting integration in the future, so you're not going to have to run those things twice. It's a little bit annoying, but nonetheless, that data is relevant and important. So again, on the revenue report, guys, you can pick your dates, you can get in your time machine as it was on or before that particular date and time for your comparison. And then it's broken down by those specific items, revenues, fees, taxes, and totals, as well as you can print and export. So you have those options similar to what you have in those sales reports up here in your revenue report. So a couple of things that stand out up here is you've got your channel report as well, you've got your source report, but what I want to take a look at is this unit revenue report. And this is a big boy, and for whatever reason, this gets missed somewhere along the way. And this is a question that oftentimes comes up, so we'll try and do a better job when we onboard customers. But this is a big boy report, and the reason why I call this a big boy report is because not only is it showing you revenue by your specific unit, by the time frames or as of date that you're entering, but it's also showing you how many nights that particular unit was available, less anything that you marked it out of service or had an owner stay or what have you, and it shows you the actual nights booked, and that's how we're then getting our occupancy percentage, okay? So this is a big boy report because you're getting your occupancy, you're getting your average daily rate, you're getting your revenue per available room, your total revenues, fees, taxes, and totals. So I call this as a big boy report because you get all of that wonderful data on this particular report, okay? As it relates to today, I cannot take this data point off of this report and slap it on a different report, nor can I take this data point off of this report and slap it on another report. So based on either how you want to see the data or how you saw the data in the past, I've had people tell me, hey, it sure would be nice if I had my occupancy percentage on this report or that report, or my RevPAR on this report or that report. Well, unfortunately, this is the report that you got to come to today. So for those of you that are not familiar with this report, this is where you get the data. For those of you that are familiar with this report, that have made those comments that I used as examples, I apologize. This is where it's at today, and we'll address those things with our third-party reporting platform in the next 6 months or so. But I think this report has immense data, guys, because you're seeing your units, you're seeing how many nights it was available, how many nights it was booked in that particular occupancy. So this report allows you the insight to be able to make appropriate adjustments, right? That's the point of reports. What is working, what isn't working, and let's make some adjustments so that we can change the trend, right? Let's not just look at the data, set it and forget it, and pray to the lodging gods that data is going to magically change. That's not how it works, right? We have our business, we have our rates, we have our units, we have our offerings, and let's look at that data and let's make the appropriate adjustments, okay? So if I see that this particular king room was available all these nights but only got booked out this many nights and I have this occupancy, what in the hell's wrong with that unit? Am I not marketing it? Is it not in relevant places on my website? Is it not displaying in the appropriate order on my booking engine? Is my rate jacked up? Have I gotten bad reviews on it and it's looking at a parking lot instead of the ocean like all my other units, right? What are the reasons? Do I need to adjust the rate for that unit? Do I need to spice it up? Do I need to do renovations? What have you, okay? So let's use this awesome report, excuse me, to give us that particular data. Now, up here in the settings, you'll notice you have a settings button. So if I come in here, we can consider out of service as available or not available, and based on our choice, it will impact our occupancy totals. Something that I've heard before that I know we need on this particular report is I don't want my meeting rooms to count against my total occupancy, and I don't want to have to figure this out manually. So give me the options to remove these units from this particular report or whatever it is I want to have or remove. So just know that we are aware and we'll be making those adjustments over the next 6 months or so. So this is a nice report as it relates to revenue in general. So hopefully you guys are seeing the flexibility. Hopefully you're getting the data points that you want. Again, for those of you that have joined us later or as we're walking through these, again, use the questions or the chat box here within the webinar tool to tell me what reports you're missing or what specific data points that are missing so that we can build those out for you guys. I'm not using this, the team doesn't use this to run our business because we don't have a property, so I need that feedback from you if we're missing some things, okay? Something that came up here from Eric, and it is on our list, so thank you, Eric, is an audit report. So that not only we can see it either by shift, but we can see it by employee, so that we can kind of see what's going on and things that are taking place. I've got some properties that are giving incentives to front desk staff to sell particular items. So we need to see that Jane sold this many packages and Tommy sold this many upsells to our suites, and we want to reward them some way, somehow. So I know that we need to get that type of data in a report for you. So I appreciate that feedback. Okay, lastly here and wrapping up, we've got some tax reports here, either broken down by individual tax or by tax group. So the individual tax is collected for a time period arranged by each tax itself, whereas these are taxes collected for a time period of your choice, which is arranged by group. As you guys know, within the system, if you come back into the configuration and you go into taxes, this is where you control the groups and which specific taxes are associated within that group, as well as here are your individual taxes, and that is exactly what is being reported on back here in that reporting section. So as an example, if I jump into that tax group report, I'm going to see my various taxes that I have grouped and the specific data points related to that. So on this report, again, I have the ability to pick my specific dates or time frame. If I need to get in my time machine and go to a particular date to look at that data, I most certainly can. Then I have those tax groups and the actual revenue and sales, anything that has been exempted, the actual taxable revenue, the standard tax, exempted tax, actual tax. So hopefully you've got the data points that you need here, as well as, if need be, I can drill down and see those specific data points as it relates to those individual taxes within that grouping. I can not only print that report, but I can export that report out to Excel that I can then share with my accountant or what have you if they don't have access to my system. So again, guys, the assumption here is that we're giving you not only the reports that you need for taxes, but we're giving you the specific data points that are needed for taxes, whether it's by group or individual. So again, need you guys to speak up if you're not getting what you need or your accountant isn't getting what you need. So in general, guys, that's kind of a run through of the various different reports. So hopefully that sheds some light within how you can pick date ranges on certain reports but not others. You can get in the time machine. You have the flexibility to print or export various different reports. You can see a settings tab, toggle things on or off if you want a basic version or an advanced detailed version. So that kind of covers reports. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me pop back here real quick again, and just as a reminder, if you guys got comments, feedback, concerns, questions, I'm a good resource for that, as is our support team. So please don't hesitate to email or call. That's my direct line. In terms of what's coming next that we'll probably be going over is next big features. As you know, we're always working on things. So next big features, we got a rebooking feature that's going to be going into testing this week, I heard yesterday. So that's exciting. The concept there, for those of you that aren't familiar, is you've got your repeat guests, and they come back, and they come with the same people, the same time frame, and the same unit every year. So on checkout, hey, Sally, do you want to come back again next year? Will we see you? Yes, I do. I hit the rebook button, and it takes all of that reservation detail and automatically makes the reservation for you. Saves you some time and makes you more efficient. Also, the ability to open and close based on arrival and departure dates. Okay, so what does that mean? So as an example, let's say I've got a 3-day holiday weekend, and it's Labor Day, it's Memorial Day, whatever day it is, whatever holiday it is, and I want people to come for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday and not leave until Tuesday. Well, currently you can set a 3-night minimum on the booking engine or within the software, but you cannot force them to arrive on Saturday and depart on Tuesday. So that's what this feature will allow you to do. So you can, on those 3-night weekends where you want to take advantage of that holiday and you want to get that 3-night and you want them to come Saturday, leave on Tuesday, you certainly can do so with this feature. Also for resorts that have week-long stays, or the state of Florida in general that does Saturday to Saturday reservations, this feature is exciting because it will allow you to say when they can come and when they have to leave. The other thing that I mentioned earlier and consistently throughout is reporting is not a weakness in my opinion, nor is it a strength. It's kind of in the middle there. So we're putting a big push on that, working with third-party vendors to expand the reports, make them visually appealing, and also allow you the ability to customize some of those data points that you're looking for. So that's what we got going on here, guys. What else am I supposed to share with you? Give me one sec, I just had it. Oh, 2 more things that apparently not everyone is aware of, okay? In this upper right-hand corner, see this little bell icon, guys? Everyone has this within their database. If I click on this bell, it lets you know what's going on. So you shouldn't ever be surprised by a feature, or you should never feel left out and you don't know what the heck it is that we're working on. You're paying us monthly for this tool. What the heck are you working on? Well, that's what this is for back here. So here's all the new features. So every time we come out with what I call a bigger feature, basically what we do is we tell you about it here, okay? So these are the bigger features. So you can move reservations, you can open close inventory on booking.com. We have a channel manager. We made the grid lines darker and did some things. You got notes on the occupancy map with Season Wizard, blah, 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 right? These are what I call the bigger features that the masses need, want, or have informed us about. So we'll do a write-up that you can come into and we'll explain what it is. You can watch a webinar on it, or you can go to a knowledge base article. So we'll not only tell you about it, but show you how to use the dang thing, which is always helpful. And then this Cloud Updates tab here, basically what this guy is this is telling you, these are release notes, okay? So this is the big features that we feel that you need to know about, and this is everything that we're working on, right? So if I just click into release notes, it'll tell you when specifically it was released, and it's broken down by here's the features that we've added, here's any usability enhancements that we've added, and here's any bugs that's been reported or that we found that we have corrected, right? So again, this here is showing you absolutely everything that we're working on, and then this here is telling you about the big features that should hopefully change your life or be very beneficial that you need to know about. So for whatever reason, not everyone's aware of that little tab. So again, guys, in the upper right-hand corner here, that's where that data is. And then when we push out new ones, especially the new features, it'll give you a little icon and it'll show you a number to let you know how many you've missed or you haven't looked at. And that's specific to each individual user, so that it's not like one person on your staff logs in and sees it and then it goes away. Well, that's specific to each user, okay? So anyways, just wanted to wrap up. I was asked to share that with you for those of you that aren't familiar. So hopefully you enjoyed today. Comments, questions, concerns, you need help, reach out, guys. No question is a dumb question. The point of these webinars is to make sure that you're using the product to its full potential and capability, and you're not only getting your money's worth, but we're making your life more efficient, help you generate more revenue, help you make sure that you're providing excellent guest services for all of your guests. So thank you so much for attending. Appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.